I don't have headphones, but it should be okay. Do you guys have headphones?
No, we're gonna need headphones because remember when we tried doing it without headphones and we needed the fucking headphones?
I bet you your uncles have headphones.
Yeah, headphones. Sebastian, do you have headphones?
Sebastian, you have headphones?
I have one pair of headphones.
Can I use it real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Thank you,
What
Sebastian.
brand is this?
I don't know.
The Gucci
Oh,
Louis?
I just bought them for school.
Louis.
I made that.
Can I spit a verse right now?
Yeah,
on your
yeah.
mic? Oh.
Yo.
Oh.
Ha! Yeah, how's this shirt look? Can you see my nips?
Gentlemen.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome back to Fit and Fermented. This is our first 10 minutes of fit video that we're putting out. We're going to have different videos now that we're focusing on basic topics, really trying to dive into what we set out to do with Fit and Fermented in the first place. We appreciate the patience. We wanted to see how people reacted to our introductory videos that were a little longer. And so thank you for tuning in and sitting through those if you did. And we couldn't be more excited to have you back for our first 10-minute segment, Calorie Basics.
So let's start off with actually what a calorie is. It's a unit of measurement that tells us how much energy a food contains. You can't see it, you can't hold it, you can't do anything with it besides measure energy, what you get from a calorie. To weight loss is you got to be at a caloric deficit, and for weight gain you got to be at a surplus.
Starting with surplus, what that is eating more calories than what you actually fucking need, basically. Now I should say this is all stemming from what your maintenance calories is. Maintenance is kind of like your base, what amount of calories you can eat and maintain the same weight. So if you ever hear somebody talk about maintenance calories, that's what that is. Including everything, your daily activity, your workouts, everything. How much calories you can consume with all of that and maintain the same weight. And that's really like start number one where you should be. Really, it's fucking simple from there. If you eat more than that, you're gonna gain weight. If you eat less, you're gonna lose. Now there is some boundaries that you should do to that, health reasons and such. Maybe you think like, oh, I should only eat once a day or 900 calories or something like that. That isn't good. That's not healthy. Just like if you were to eat 900 calories worth of Skittles, you're gonna lose weight because you're in that deficit. Is that healthy? Absolutely not. You know, so we would never recommend that. But we wanted to explain how that works and what the importance is of calories and knowing whether you're at maintenance, deficit, or surplus, how important that is when it comes to your goals, whatever that may be.
So you also got to remember you got to track. The one that both of us kind of like using the most is the Fitness Pal, and it's a free app that you can get off your phone. Mm-hmm. And it's basic. It's you download it on your phone, but you got to remember you got to set up your numbers for your own personal goal, your weight and stuff like that. It's as simple as basically getting your app and you can track everything through your phone, which we're all on it all the freaking time, you know. So, and it's easy as just scanning whatever you eat, you know. It tells you how many ounces or grams. It gives you numbers, so you don't really have to do much digging for it.
That little barcode thing that you can fucking do. My Fitness Pal is one of many. There's plenty of other apps you can use out there. That's just the one that we prefer. It's free, and I know it has a huge database of food, and it really is as simple as that. Now, although tracking may be the way that we do things, and what I would recommend, you could just figure out what your deficit was, and eat the same fucking thing every day if you really wanted to. And you'd be in that deficit if it equaled to one. But I don't know about y'all, but that doesn't sound like a very fulfilling way of eating or a fulfilling way of life. So if you track your food daily, it allows a little bit more flexibility. Look up flexible dieting. There's a whole heap load of shit that's going to show up on how they do things, and it's what we personally recommend, but it's not the only way, which is important to know.
If I have something coming up, I'll set it up for the end of the week, like a Friday or Saturday, you know, to allow myself more numbers, more calories, basically, that I could have that day that I want to do something like drink or something like that. But
Yeah.
Flexible dining basically kind of allows you to have that daily, you know.
It's not really a healthy mind state if you're depriving yourself of everything that you want, and that's not going to be something that you stick to, honestly.
It allows you more to have those binge days, you know, where you end up eating a whole freaking cake or a pie, which I
If you go over on one of these cheat days, you let yourself have a little bit too much fun. If you're tracking, you know exactly how much you went over. So track the shit food that you ate. You can adjust for it. It doesn't have to ruin all of your goals or ruin your mind state that you messed up greatly, and you know, now you don't need to diet anymore. That's a common thing that a lot of people do. They mess up a little bit, they think, oh God, you know, I already messed up, time to give up. But you don't need to. If you're tracking, you see how much you went over, you can adjust accordingly over the week, which that's how deficits or surpluses should honestly be looked at in the first place. It's a lot easier to set up your goals for weight loss over the course of a week. Take that deficit or that surplus and spread it over 7 days or maybe even more than a week, as opposed to a daily thing. Weight can fluctuate for many reasons, whether it be water, salt, women, hormonal things, men, hormonal things. Weight goes like this all the time. I'm sure everybody's weighed in one morning and the next day it's 2 pounds over or 2 pounds less. It's just crazy how it goes. An accurate weigh-in would be an empty stomach Monday, just for an example, 1 week. The very next week, the same day, empty stomach. That's going to give you a much better understanding of what your maintenance and surplus and deficit would actually be.
Wherever you eat, you know, there's like if you eat we like Chipotle and Qdoba's or Tokyo Joe's, you could always track all that stuff too, because it's on the Fitness Pal. The Fitness Pal has all that stuff that you could track.
Right.
So there's no excuse to saying why you did not track that food you ate.
Now, our next topic at hand with this, actually setting up your calories, and also setting up where your calories should go, meaning distribution of calories amongst what's called macronutrients. Macros, you'll hear them called all the time: fat, protein, carbs. Those are within your caloric allowance. Every gram of protein has a certain amount of calories, 4. Every gram of carbs, 4. Every gram of fat, 9. So all of those equal calories. There's more than one way to skin a cat when it comes to setting up these numbers. So it'd be very foolish of myself or Juan to tell you this is the right way to do the shit. It's the only way to do the shit. It's just not true. If you're in a deficit, you're going to lose. Meaning that whatever diet you choose to go with, and we'll do a video on that in the future. The fad diets and what's wrong with them, what's good about them, mostly what's wrong. But point being, if you're in that deficit, you're going to lose weight regardless of the diet. If you're in that surplus, you're going to gain weight regardless of the diet. And so we're not going to give you the exact ways to set up your numbers. We can give you some recommendations, and we'll tell you what we follow. That whole flexible dieting, and if it fits your macros crew, if you look up IIFYM, a whole bunch of stuff's going to come up. You can kind of do some research on your own. You'll see their calculators of what they recommend to figure out your, not only your caloric allowance, but also your macros. They have an understanding of if you hit the appropriate things that you need health-wise, meaning like your vitamins and minerals and micronutrients, that's all your vitamins and such, and you hit the appropriate macros for what body composition you want, meaning enough protein for a muscular body, enough fat for your hormones to be in place, and then carbs. Pretty much if you get your fiber, you can do whatever the fuck you want with the rest of them. And after you do that, you can fit things in. It's kind of what Fit and Fermented is all surrounded on. We enjoy beers. We enjoy going to different breweries, and that's a passion of ours. And if you know what you're doing, you can do those passions together.
Also got to remember certain foods are more calorie dense. So say if you usually healthier foods you can eat more of because they're not as calorie dense as say like a candy bar.
Right.
So a hamburger could go up to like 1,200 just the burger itself.
Yeah.
When if you're like eating chicken and rice, you can eat a bunch.
Right. Yeah. So you choose. It's kind of up to you, as long as you hit the certain requirements that you need to hit as far as micros and macros. And we'll probably do a video that goes a little bit more into what those are. But for now, we wanted to keep it to calories, the basics, what they are. Where we recommend you should start is your maintenance. If you don't use a calculator, or even if you do use a calculator from whatever website it may be, if you look up calorie calculator, a lot's going to come up. Regardless of what you do or which site that you choose or who to listen to, you need to stick to that for a couple of weeks to find out if that truly is your maintenance calories or not. Stick to it. Get that accurate weigh-in on an empty stomach 1 day per week. Don't drive yourself fucking nuts weighing yourself every day. It's not even going to be accurate in the first place. And then adjust from there. If you stayed the same weight, then you were lucky enough to find your maintenance calories on the first go round. Yeah. If you gained, then you know you're in a surplus. Drop it a little bit. If you lost, you know you're in a deficit. Add a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I'm talking a couple hundred calories a day or so. Anything more than that is going to be quite excessive. If you're trying to figure out your maintenance, I would probably keep your activity to the minimum, at least in regards to what you normally do. So if you're trying to figure out what your maintenance is for calories wise, and you set a number and you're tracking that every day, but now you're running a fucking marathon more than what you were last week, well then it's not going to be accurate representation of what your maintenance was. Stick to maybe what you were already doing, nothing more, and try and figure out those calories.
Yeah, and if there's more that you guys want to know, write us on Facebook or Instagram if you want a little bit more in-depth information.
We tried to keep this as basic as we could, and we hope that the information was helpful, but we found a lot of basic info gets us a long way. There's just not a lot of people that are willing to explain it to you. We challenge you to go use this. Let us know how it worked out, like how Juan said, where you can. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. And our next episode from Fit and Fermented is going to be 10 minutes of fermented coming out this Friday. It's featuring Boggy Jaw Brewery. And so we're walking the walk. We are fitting the delicious beers that we're having on that day into our calories, tracked, accounted for, and we're excited to show you what that brewery has to offer. So thanks again. I'd like to do a cheers to craft beers.
Craft bodies, guys. Come on.
Thanks. Take to use. David's laughing about something. Did you fart? Did I fart?
Nothing, man. I'm just gonna restart.
Yeah.